Hello, and welcome back to Speak English Daily.
Hi, everyone. We are very happy to see you here today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Speak English Daily, where we help you speak English in a simple and natural way. I'm Anna.
And I'm Mike. Hello to all of our listeners wherever you are in the world right now. Anna, before we begin, can I ask you something a little strange?
That usually means yes. Go ahead.
Have you ever opened your phone to check one thing and then completely forgotten what you were doing?
Yes, all the time. I open my phone, stare at the screen for a few seconds, and then I just close it again.
That happened to me 3 times yesterday. I picked up my phone, unlocked it, and then just sat there thinking, why am I here?
Did you ever remember?
Eventually, yes, but not before checking messages, opening 2 apps, and somehow ending up watching a video I did not even care about.
That is actually very relatable.
I told my younger cousin about it, and he looked at me like something was seriously wrong. He said, "How do you forget that fast?"
And what did you say?
I said, "It just happens." But honestly, I had no explanation.
This is one of those small moments where you start to notice something changing.
What do you mean?
There is a point where your brain just becomes a little less sharp in everyday situations. Not in a bad way, just different.
That sounds slightly worrying.
It is not worrying, it's just part of getting older, which is what we're talking about today.
Getting older, not in a negative way.
No, not at all. Just in a very honest and realistic way.
And the phone memory problem is just the beginning.
We have a full list, and I think many of them will feel very familiar.
Some of them are a little embarrassing as well.
That is true, but also kind of funny.
Okay, so forgetting why you opened your phone is one sign. What else do you have?
Leaving events earlier than you planned.
Yes, this one is very real. A few years ago, leaving at midnight felt early. Now, if I leave at 10, I feel like I made a very smart decision.
Honestly, if I'm still out late, I start thinking about my bed the whole time.
Same. I start calculating everything.
Like what?
If I leave now, I can be home by 10:30, in bed by 11, and still get enough rest.
And suddenly, that plan feels very exciting.
More exciting than staying at the event.
That is the strange part. It's not even about being tired. It's just that being at home sounds better.
Comfort becomes very important.
Very important. Okay, what about this one? Music.
Oh no, I know where this is going.
I was in a car with some younger people recently. They turned on a playlist and everyone started singing along.
And you knew none of the songs.
Not a single one.
Did you ask what they were listening to?
No, I just sat there quietly and thought, this is very loud.
That sentence alone says a lot.
I know, but I didn't feel bad about it. I just didn't care enough to find out.
That might be the biggest sign.
Which part?
Not caring.
That's actually true. When you're younger, you want to know everything, every trend, every song, every new thing.
And now?
Now, if I don't know something, I'm completely fine with it.
That's a big change.
A very big one. And I think people underestimate this part. Underestimate means you don't give something enough credit. You think it's less important or less good than it really is.
So not caring can actually be a good thing.
Yes, because it gives you peace. You stop worrying about things that don't really matter to you.
That saves a lot of mental energy.
So much energy. Before, I would think about everything. What people think, what I should say, how I should act.
And now?
Now, I just do what feels comfortable.
That sounds like a very calm way to live.
It is, and I think it's one of the best parts of getting older.
even if it comes with forgetting why you opened your phone.
Yes, even with that.
Okay, listeners, now we want to hear from you. What was your first sign that you were getting older?
It can be something small, something funny, or even something a little surprising.
Write it in the comments. Even one sentence is enough.
And be honest. No perfect answers here.
We read everything.
I think a lot of people will relate to that. And actually, there's another sign that connects to this.
Go on.
The accidental nap.
Oh, that one is dangerous.
Very dangerous. You sit down for a few minutes, maybe just to relax, and then suddenly you wake up an hour later.
And you have no idea what time it is.
Or even what day it is sometimes.
The worst part is that you weren't even planning to sleep.
Exactly. It just happens.
It feels like your body makes the decision for you.
That's a good way to describe it.
And then you wake up feeling worse than before.
Yes, somehow more tired and also confused.
That's not a good combination.
Not at all, but it happens more often as you get older.
I think it's connected to energy.
Definitely. Energy changes a lot.
When I was younger, I had energy all the time. It didn't matter what I did.
Same. You could go out late, sleep very little, and still feel fine the next day.
Now, one late night can affect me for 2 days.
The next morning is already difficult.
And the rest of the day is also not great.
It becomes something you have to think about.
Yes, and that leads to another change, planning.
You start planning everything.
Before saying yes to anything, I ask myself a lot of questions.
Like what?
How late will it be? How far is it? Do I have something important the next day?
Those are very practical questions.
Practical, but also a bit boring.
Maybe, but necessary.
I also noticed I have a tendency to think about how tired I will feel later.
That's a good word. Tendency means something you do naturally without really thinking about it.
Exactly. It just happens automatically now.
And it changes how you make decisions.
It does. I can't be as spontaneous as before.
Spontaneous or impulsive?
Yes, impulsive is a good word.
Impulsive means doing something suddenly without thinking too much.
Like making plans at the last minute.
Or saying yes immediately without checking anything.
I miss that sometimes.
Me too. There was something exciting about it.
Someone could call you in the evening and you would just go out.
No planning, no thinking, just yes.
Now, even simple plans need time.
And confirmation.
And sometimes more confirmation.
It becomes a whole process.
But at the same time, it makes life more balanced.
That is true. You protect your energy more.
And you make choices more carefully. Listeners, quick question for you. Do you prefer planning everything or being more impulsive? Tell us in the comments and share your experience.
I'm curious to see what people say.
Me too. I think it will be very mixed.
Okay, but here's the interesting part. Not all changes are difficult.
Yes, some things actually improve.
A lot, actually.
One of the biggest ones is confidence.
In what way?
You stop worrying so much about what other people think.
That's a huge change. When I was younger, I thought about it all the time.
Every small thing.
Every decision, every conversation.
Did I say the right thing? Did I sound strange?
Did they like me? Was I too quiet or too loud?
That takes a lot of mental energy.
It really does. And now I just don't think about it as much.
So what changed?
I think I just grew out of it.
That's a nice way to say it.
Outgrow means you stop needing something because you have changed.
So it's not something you decide.
No, it happens naturally over time.
That sounds very freeing.
It is, and you feel much more relaxed.
And more yourself.
Exactly. You become more comfortable with who you are.
I also think you get better at knowing what you want.
Yes, that's another big one.
Before, I would say yes to things I didn't even enjoy.
Same here. Events, activities, even conversations.
Just because it felt expected.
Or because you didn't want to disappoint anyone.
And now?
Now I can say no.
Politely, but clearly.
Yes, without feeling guilty.
That is a skill.
It really is, and it makes life much easier.
Because you spend time on things you actually enjoy.
And with people who make you feel good.
That sounds like a very positive change.
It is part of a bigger transition.
Transition?
Transition means moving from one stage of life to another.
And this one feels quite comfortable.
Very comfortable. You move from trying to please everyone
To understanding yourself better.
and making choices that work for you.
That is a strong place to be.
I think people do not talk enough about this side of getting older.
They focus on the difficult parts.
But there are many good parts too.
And some of them make life much more peaceful.
And I think that peaceful feeling also shows up in your social life.
Definitely. Friendships change a lot over time.
Yes, and I have noticed something interesting. Your friend circle becomes smaller.
I agree with that, and I actually think it's a good thing.
I partly agree, but I don't think it is always simple.
What do you mean?
It sounds nice to say a smaller circle is better, but sometimes it is also a little sad.
That is fair. It is not always easy.
But the friendships that stay feel different.
In a good way.
Yes, in a very good way.
I would describe them as effortless.
That is the perfect word. Effortless means something feels natural and easy. You do not have to try too hard.
Exactly. With close friends now, I don't feel any pressure.
Same. You can spend time together after weeks or even months, and it still feels normal.
Like no time has passed.
I met a friend recently after a long gap, and within minutes we were laughing like before.
That is a strong friendship.
It really is. But at the same time, staying connected is not as easy as before.
That is true.
When you're younger, you see your friends almost every day,
At school, at university, everywhere.
and you don't have to plan anything.
Now, everything needs planning.
And effort.
That reminds me of another phrase, keeping in touch.
Yes, keeping in touch means staying connected with people, checking in regularly.
And as life gets busier, that takes real effort.
Work, responsibilities, daily life, everything adds up.
And sometimes plans don't even happen.
That is very true.
You make a plan, and then something changes.
Or you just feel too tired.
And then comes the message.
Sorry, I'm not feeling great today.
The most common message in adult friendships.
And the funny thing is, the other person is often relieved.
Yes, they reply, no problem at all. I was actually thinking the same.
Both people cancel,
And both are secretly happy about it.
sitting comfortably at home within minutes.
That is modern friendship.
And somehow it still works.
It does, because the understanding is there.
There is no pressure, no expectation to always show up.
Just mutual respect and comfort.
Okay, listeners, we want to know something. Which type are you? The one who makes plans or the one who cancels them?
Be honest.
Tell us in the comments.
I think most people are both.
Yes, it depends on the week.
Some days you feel active and social.
And some days the sofa wins.
The sofa wins very often.
Very often. And this actually connects to something else. Your idea of a perfect weekend.
Oh, this changes a lot.
Completely. When I was younger, a perfect weekend meant being busy,
Going out, meeting people, doing something exciting.
staying out late, making plans, being around noise and energy.
And now?
Now, my perfect weekend is quiet.
Same here.
A slow morning, a good breakfast, maybe a walk, nothing rushed,
Nothing urgent.
and no one asking for anything.
That is the dream.
It really is. Just having time to relax.
I sometimes think about my weekends from years ago.
Me too.
There were so many activities, so many plans.
That's a good word for it. Reminisce.
Right. Reminisce means thinking about the past with warm and happy feelings.
The memories are nice.
Very nice.
But if I'm honest, I wouldn't go back to that lifestyle.
Same here.
I enjoy my quiet weekends too much now.
It's funny how your idea of happiness changes.
Yes, younger me would not understand this at all.
Younger me would probably say, this is boring.
And now we think this is perfect.
Exactly.
There's also a kind of humor in that.
Definitely.
If I could talk to my younger self, I think she would be very surprised.
What would you say to her?
I would say this is where we are now, and it's actually very nice.
I like that.
And then I would probably tell her to be quiet because I'm enjoying my coffee.
That sounds very accurate.
What about you?
I would say the same, maybe with a little more confidence.
Confidence changes too.
It does, and it makes these quiet moments feel even better.
Getting older has a strange reputation,
People often focus on the negatives,
but there are many small positive changes,
things that make life calmer and more meaningful,
like enjoying simple moments.
and understanding yourself better.
And I think that's a really nice place to end today's discussion.
Yes, we covered quite a lot,
From small everyday changes,
to bigger shifts in how we think and live.
so let's quickly go over the key words from today.
Good idea. These are words you can start using in your own conversations.
First, transition, moving from one stage of life to another.
Next, obligations. These are things you have to do, responsibilities you cannot avoid.
Impulsive, doing something suddenly without thinking first.
Outgrow, when you stop needing something because you have changed.
Low key, something calm, simple, and not too big or exciting.
Underestimate, not giving something enough credit, thinking it's less important than it really is.
Tendency, something you do naturally, almost automatically.
Reminisce, to think about the past with warm and happy feelings.
Keep in touch, to stay connected with people, to check in regularly.
And finally, effortless, when something feels natural and easy without needing extra effort.
Try to use these words this week, even in simple sentences.
They are very common in everyday English.
And they will help you sound more natural when you speak.
Now, before we finish, let's go back to our main topic.
Getting older.
Would you say you feel positive about it now?
Honestly, yes.
Same here.
There are challenges, of course.
But there are also many benefits,
More clarity, more confidence,
and a better understanding of what really matters,
even if it comes with a few accidental naps.
and forgetting why you opened your phone.
It still feels worth it.
I agree.
Okay, listeners, now it's your turn.
Which side are you on?
Team, getting older is actually a good thing.
Or team, I want to go back a few years?
Tell us in the comments. We really want to hear your thoughts.
And we read all of your messages.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and like the video.
It really helps us create more content for you.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.